spaceships and satellites. It's how we build cars that can go so fast they break records over and over and over again. Our community may not be the biggest, most powerful, but together we can share ideas, help reshape this country for the better, create a new culture. What's going to happen if you guys sign up, join, and support the work that we do and get involved? Check that out at timcast.com. Well, let's get back to the news. Don't forget to also smash the like button, share this video everywhere. If you do that, it's tremendously helpful. As everybody who watched and shared this video, it would be the #1 video in the country. So I got like 200,000 views, maybe 200,000 shares. Awesome. The New York Post says Trump briefed that Iran's new Supreme Leader Mustafa Khamenei is probably gay. The president has a priceless reaction. President Trump was stunned to learn last week that U.S. intelligence indicates new Iranian Supreme Leader Mustafa Khamenei may be gay. That his father, the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, feared his suitability to rule the Islamic Republic for that reason. Trump couldn't contain his surprise and laughed out loud when he was briefed on the intel according to sources. Others in the room also found it hilarious and joined the president's reaction, while one senior intelligence official has not stopped laughing about it for days. What is even going on at this point, guys? Here's a picture of Mustafa Khamenei, who they say may be gay. Okay. The shocking claim was described both by two intelligence community officials and a third person close to the White House. All three sources say the implausible sounding allegation is viewed as credible by U.S. spy agencies rather than false information intended to undermine Khamenei, who was selected to replace his dead father as Supreme Leader on March 8th. Two of the sources said the intelligence indicates that Mustafa, who earned the nickname the Power Behind the Rose while serving as his aging dad's gatekeeper, has had a long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor. Wait, what? So, like, pedophilic and stuff? The third source said the world really is what I thought it was. The third source said the intelligence indicated the affair was with a person who formerly worked for the Khamenei family. Mustafa, who was believed to have been wounded in the February 20th airstrike from his father, has made aggressive sexual overtures to men caring for him, possibly while under the influence of heavy medication. One of those sources said. U.S. spy agencies do not have photographic evidence of Mustafa Khamenei's alleged sexual attraction to men, but the sources insist the tip is solid, with one saying it was derived from one of the most protected sources the government has. It's just the most ridiculous war propaganda. Man, like, guys, this guy might be dead. No one's seen him since. Some report that he's in a coma. His leg got blown off. Trump has said we don't even know if he's alive. He may actually be dead. And they're sitting here running a story claiming that he might be gay. Guys, he might be dead. The fact that this was outed at the highest of levels shows you there's some confidence in this. Mustafa's purported sexual orientation has been whispered out inside Iran since at least May 2024. Since the crash that killed then-President Ebrahim Raisi. Ali Khamenei's presumed favorite to be the next Supreme Leader, sources said, when the U.S. government has been pretty closely held piece of information. Trump previously dismissed Mustafa Khamenei as a lightweight and an unacceptable choice to run Iran. The Supreme Leader is widely considered to be someone who would not bend the U.S. demands to abandon the nuclear and ballistic missile programs that prompted Operation Epic Fury. Some elements of Mustafa Khamenei's sex life have been reported before the allegation. Classified U.S. diplomatic cable from 2008 published by WikiLeaks described Mustafa being treated in the UK for impotence, though that report did not identify what may have caused the condition. The State Department file says Mustafa married relatively late in life, around age 30, reportedly due to an impotency problem treated that eventually resolved during 3 visits to the UK and Wellington and Cromwell hospitals. Mustafa was expected by his family to produce children quickly, but needed a 4th visit to the UK for medical treatment. After a stay of months,
I was actually betting anything on these bets and winning stuff.
Reportedly died
Probably
at least 5 miles. The new Supreme Leader has another son and daughter. The allegation of homosexuality was alluded to in a CBS News report on Sunday that said the elder Khamenei who had moved Iran's preferred a different successor in part because of unspecified issues in Mustafa's personal life. His father and others suspected he was gay, and that was something that people were spreading to try to stop his ascension. Oh my God. Okay, they say, I know a lot of people are already commenting homosexual, and I'm saying like that on purpose, it's fun. Homosexual conduct is illegal in Iran, but the government does allow surgical sex change
I like this one. It's jazzy, soul jazz, soul something, smooth jazz, smooth jazz and soul R&B, soul flow, instrumentals, soul flow.
If there was ever a time where it was okay to out somebody, he was a leader of a repressive Islamic theocracy that hangs gay people by brains.
That is fun to say.
Remain murky. Well, my friends, not so murky. We have the story from Hindustan Times. Hearing Mustafa Khamenei is not alive, shares chilling claim by Iran's Supreme Leader amid war. Now let me just tell you this, my friends. Saying that may be dead is a bold claim hard to verify. And death is a factor of war. It's not embarrassing. It's just a question of whether the country will persist. But claiming that he's gay is stripped of any support he might have in his country, whether he's dead or alive. Donald Trump provided insight into Iran's Supreme Leader's Mustafa Khamenei's status. I believe it's pronounced Mustafa, but who am I? I'm just an American guy. Trump was speaking to NBC News. He said, quote, I don't know if he's even alive. So far, nobody's been able to show him. While Trump called news of his death a rumor, those continue on hearing he's not alive. And he is. He should do something very, very smart for his country, and that is surrender. The Telegraph reports Mustafa Khamenei has called for Iranian immunity, but he may not be alive. A rallying call to the people, albeit in a written statement, has done little to alleviate rumors that he's dead. 4 days after being selected as Iran's Supreme Leader and nearly 2 weeks into the war that killed his immediate family, Mustafa released his first statement. It was not a speech, it was not a video address. It was a written message read aloud by a state television news anchor. The message warned the U.S. to close its Gulf bases immediately, when other countries would face further attacks. The Strait of Hormuz would remain blocked, and there would be revenge for every Iranian killed by U.S.-Israeli bombs, including special retribution for the children killed at the girls' school in Minot, probably because of a U.S. Tomahawk missile. Well, my friends, the Sun reports the same thing. Dead or alive, Iran's injured new leader flown to Moscow for a leg surgery who personally offered to help as death rumors swirl. Indeed. Iran's new supreme leader Rashad Ghani's a no-show at his own succession rally. Charisma of boiled potato. His own succession. He wasn't there because he's dead. I don't think this man is actually alive. Now, where we go as a country, things will be interesting. The U.S. is divided on the war in Iran. The questions I know that many of you ask is, how will this affect me? And, well, let's just roll, baby. But the New York Post, gas prices reach highest level since October 2023 as oil holds above $100 per barrel. U.S. stocks jump. Now, Trump has made a series of comments over the past couple of weeks that have really angered his coalition. That is, he said, glyphosate is great and we love it, and Maha just went, yeah. And then he said, high gas prices are good because it means we're going to cut it out of money.
The whole
We produce so much of it.
ivermectin and
High oil prices, I can say. Well, gas prices are starting to spike. And this is not good for the American people because they need gas to do their jobs, to get to their jobs, to deliver things, to receive things. And when gas goes up, everything goes up. There's a great scene in Landman where Billy Bob Thornton talks about the price of oil being perfect at around $77, $80 a barrel. The reason being is that you can make a good profit, but when it goes up, the price of everything else goes up, which constrains the market and is bad for the economy in general. So there's a sweet spot. They try to keep oil at a certain level. What that really means, my friends, they need gas to do their jobs, to get to their... His coalition. That is, he said, glyphosate is great and we love it, and Maha.
glyphosate. I know. For a while, when the whole glyphosate and ivermectin thing kind of kicked off, yeah, the COVID era, Joe Rogan was talking about it, the ivermectin, people, it's really a horse dewormer. Yeah, it cleans out parasites. Yeah, there's a bunch of over-the-counter stuff you can buy. Right, and just the education about those things and as to why and when someone would want to use something like that and what it helps to prevent, treat. Right, why is that not even talked about? Right, just the argument and debate of, oh no, can't do this, and oh no, can't talk about it, and no, they won't approve this. It's like, wait, yeah, you can talk about it, and it get approved by what? Right, is it doctor recommended? Right, so if it's being sold over the counter, it's not something they're going to be able to prescribe to people, right? Not always. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they prescribe ibuprofen, Tylenol. They sometimes prescribe things that are sold over the counter. Right, so it's interesting once you start delving into the whole parasitic, bacterial. For years, remember back around 2005, 6, and 7, there was a really big thing. It was like a war. It was an epidemic in some worlds in the healthcare and stuff like that. A lot of people just aren't aware of those things happening. Yeah, I guess you don't go to those seminars during your daily dues. All you do-gooders, good Samaritans, let me tell you. But yeah, it's interesting. Just the cycles of stuff and the same kind of bullshit over and over again, just kind of a different name. It's the same thing, same symptoms. Right, ghosts, aliens, schizophrenia, seeing, hearing things, bird, plane, Superman. Now, why are you hyperventilating? Right, so yeah, the whole ivermectin, glyphosate, and I remember back around different cycles, I guess you could, if you wanted to pick the time frame of 2005 to 2007, when it was hard to talk about probiotics. Still is. I can remember them saying, or some of the doctors said things like, God forbid they prescribe a probiotic with antibiotics, which is crazy not to when you think about it and you actually educate yourself. It's insane to not give a probiotic when you give antibiotics. It causes a lot of illness. I can remember when I was a kid, after getting bit by some ticks and getting a circular rash with a pinprick in the middle, it's described in my records. I remember, it was pretty bad, and I started getting really bad earaches. Yeah, I can remember them telling my mom, excuse me, that I had cat scratch fever. Yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, I remember a lot of the earaches and all the amoxicillin. I can remember later on them saying that's probably what caused some of my issues. Oh, I had a lot of issues. Sensitivities. Yeah, when I was young, I want to say I was you can probably check my records. I can't remember how old I was. I think I was about 10 or 11. I had to have all my teeth had to be filled in with this stuff because I kept grinding my teeth. I guess I would do it in my sleep too. I didn't even know I was doing it. Yeah, well, I guess, but by the time anyone did anything about it, I think what happened was my sister started to complain because she could hear me grinding my teeth. And since it was annoying her, finally, my parents said something. I don't know. I really don't remember. But yeah, I guess I had ground holes. They said all of my teeth had holes in them because I was grinding my teeth so much. Probably, I ate a lot of pixie sticks. Probably that too. Not taking care of proper hygiene. Kids will be kids. Oh, what kid doesn't just pretend to brush their teeth? Right. You can only get away with that one for so long, Shunny. Yeah, I think I was 10 or 11. You can check the records. But yeah, it's interesting. And then when you go back through some of those cycles, that one between 2005 and 2007, what was it back then? Instead of glyphosate and ivermectin, do you remember different things being talked about? Activated charcoal. Yeah, that too. Yeah, I remember that. Linseed oil. Yes, actually, I remember that. What's his name? Kevin Trudeau, who had that Natural Cures book. I think he talked about that in his book. This dude that was making bread with linseed oil. They're going to shut him down because one woman said she thought it was the bread that healed her breast cancer. Right. Amazing. So I don't think he was making claims on the bread, like this will cure your cancer. I think because she said it and other people were like, and started to look into it. Yeah, they went in, they shut him down. I think they threatened to put him in jail. They took his license, I think, and they threatened to put him in jail and said if he ever sold the bread again or something, they'd lock him up. Oh, yeah, the DDT stuff, remember that? Yeah. Yeah, and they were laughing about it because the DDT, they had banned it in the United States being used on the farms, but it was still legal in countries that we import stuff from, like Mexico and things like that, plus airborne. Well, I mean, why, just as anything else, why would some get banned and some not? Yeah, you can look into it. Was that the one that was being looked at with Michael J. Fox? Yeah, because he got the Parkinson's. Yeah, he was talking about the pesticides and stuff being used around his house. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, then Superman falls off a horse. And I know. It's the whole house of cards crumbled when that happened, huh? What year was that anyways? Christopher Reeves, yes. Yeah, that was awful, huh? 1995, so that was going way back. So 1995. And what year was the DDT stuff being talked about with Michael J. Fox? And the Parkinson's. Exposure to the pesticide DDT and its metabolite DDE is linked to an increased risk of developing Parkinson's disease. Studies indicate, so at the time when they were trying to expose that, remember the uproar? Yeah, exactly, and that was, yeah, when you start connecting the dots and overlaying it with other things going on. Yeah, wow, sad. Networks, things like that. I was saying, yeah, patients with higher levels of DDT were more known to have Parkinson's. While banned in the U.S. since the 1970s, its persistence causes long-term neurological risks. Right, plus it was still, I think it's still used in other places we import from, so. In many countries, it persists in the environment and food supply, accumulating in the body over time. It's related to organochlorine pesticides and are believed to contribute to the neurodegenerative process. Yeah, it's interesting. I'll drop a few links there. Hold on. Was that 2006? Looks like. The Michael J. Fox Foundation has funded extensive research into environmental causes of Parkinson's disease, including studies linking the pesticide DDT to an increased risk of developing the disease, with significant findings published as early as 2006. Yeah, I remember we were talking about that, and we thought it was interesting, and I remember it was in that time frame, 2005, 2000 to 2008, in the Kevin Trudeau book, and we're like, oh, you're just reading about this stuff and, learning about all these different things. And yeah, 2006 was the year I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease, and my oldest son was diagnosed with autism. Yeah, and I mean, just the lack of discussion about those things, as though it's obsessive compulsive or conspiracy. And then over the years, those things just get proven to be true, and you're reading these kind of articles like, oh yeah, and then if you go back and you remember what was happening at the time and how it was being ignored and people were being targeted and attacked, yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Right, well, just like anything else, learning how to eat and ingest responsibly. Pretty much do anything responsibly, right? From jumping in puddles to driving. Proper hygiene. How do I use this thing responsibly? Right, and you also want to have respect and the safety for those around you. You don't want to become a nuisance to society or a menace or a threat. Right. Right, and that's why we have laws, because some people, might have levels of, disdain for certain things. Right, but thank goodness we have laws, because they might say, oh, lock that up, I don't approve of those standards. Right? I know. Like, look at what would have happened, like, when Gordon Ramsay is going around to some of those public restaurants, having to shut some of them down. They were so infractionated. Right, so thank goodness that's why we have laws and due time, leeways, and things like that. I mean, depending, right, on. Yeah, that makes sense. And it is scary how a lot of people kind of ignore educating people about those things, and how dumb it's gotten. I mean, it's already happened. So many are laughing. No, there's a lot of people, evil, horrible people, that have been profiting a lot from these things, and they're laughing from afar. Silly, stupid Americans, as always, like it's anything new. It's okay, I'll wear the humble pie, no problem. Yeah, exactly. Someone was just saying what we've had is a lot of people that want to, lock people up for minor infractions, which thank goodness we have the law, to protect them from those things, right? Yeah, and they want to turn their heads and be oblivious to some of the worst, sickest crimes on the face of the earth, so it doesn't disrupt their delusions and fairy tale worlds they've been living in. Yeah, I mean, you can call it a fairy tale, right? I mean, in a way, it's all just make pretend, right? Yeah. That's so true, though. Like, just basically, yeah, why are those things being educated about, and why so many people get sickened by it? and deal with a lot of backlash. And also profit from it too. Yeah, I think that's why for years so many, look to trying to get through to those public systems that are supposed to protect people, those more vulnerable, low income. Yeah, and when it seems as though they're using and taking advantage of those people and ignoring serious concerns, that's very scary to us, and it has been for a long time. Since before 2006, when that was being talked about. Yes, yeah, between 2004 and 2007, a lot of those investigations concerning the overprescribing of SSRIs and people thinking they're hearing the devil or God or whatever it is, aliens, yeah, and doing really horrible things. Yeah, and a lot of people are trying to bring awareness to that, and it all got ignored, and then stuff was getting spiked continuously. It's been very scary for a lot of us. Yeah, I know, like, for a lot of those loops and different ones, it's very scary at how so many just disappeared. You almost feel like, yeah, they're all gone. They're all freaking gone, dude. Or dead, yeah. Over the years, it's so amazing the ones we've seen that have died. And I don't think it's a coincidence that every single one of them died in a really mysterious way. That's like, hold up, Yeah, very, very scary to a lot of us. Sad, extremely sad too, when you understand the innocent lives being taken by sick, evil, horrible people. Yeah, I mean, it takes a very sick person, drug addicted, already done some horrible things. They're not pulling over. They're already in a high-speed chase or a slow-speed chase. They're not pulling over. Right, it's the non-negotiables. If you understand those things, then I know people always say that, well, if that were true, if that's true, then call the cops. Oh, well, then they would arrest them. Oh, well, then they would know. And, it's just, it gets old when you understand these cases and how that's exactly what's happening here and how they get away with it. And then how that's not being educated about on top of everything else is very frustrating to us, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, we're going to time this out, and then we're going to come back on and we're going to start reading this one right here. Yes, I know, I got to file my nails. Thank you. Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, I know I got to buff them and stuff. We're going to read this one next. No, I haven't started it yet. We've been listening to some things and talking and doing stretches and stuff. Alright. No problem. Thank you. Yeah, those brownies, the Duncan Hine brownies, are really good. I like those. Yeah, you know what we did? We put Reese's peanut butter chocolate chips on them, warmed them up. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he loved it. He said it was really good. He is. I know, he'll be in bed early, I'm sure. He said he did all right. He said he did. Yeah, he's like, I've stayed up longer. I'm like, I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be good. Do it with butterscotch chips. I'm gonna do that next time. Yummy. Alright, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Yeah, well, we'll be back on there, and then of course that class is open and chat and stuff. Just hit the buzzer if you need anything. And yeah, all is good. Okay. Yeah, the water chestnuts with the cashews. Yeah, we simmered those for a little bit and then added, we blended up sunflower seeds and coconut milk with some seasoning. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I'll send you the full recipe. You're welcome. Yeah.